Right now, as we approach 1 year from the overturn of Roe v. Wade, how state leaders are trying to provide abortion training to students and providers.
Also, 2 people are injured after a small plane crashes into a neighborhood north of Madison. What police are saying led up to the incident.
And later, cheese tasters wanted, what UW-Madison is looking for in a candidate, and why it's all not just fun and games. Welcome to News 3 Now at 6. This Saturday will mark the 1-year anniversary of the controversial Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. That ruling effectively banned abortion in Wisconsin, leading many to travel outside the state to receive care.
State leaders have scrambled since to put support services in place to work around Wisconsin's 1849 law. Tahlil Mohideen joins us to share more about a proposal to get students and providers access to abortion training.
Medical program leaders in the state are worried about how the state's abortion ban could impact recruitment and retention efforts, especially as they deal with a physician shortage. They're looking to partnerships with centers out of state for more comprehensive training, but that too comes with limitations. For a long time, Sammy Strobel has looked forward to going to medical school at UW.
To be able to use this position that I'll have to advocate for other people.
More specifically, she wants to be an OBGYN. So when the news broke of the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, she worried about what that would mean for her education.
It did scare me a little bit a few weeks before starting school, knowing that starting a career in becoming an OBGYN is something that I've always wanted.
She says medical students, residents, and schools alike are finding themselves in a tricky situation.
For one, a lot of the residents, the OB residents that are currently getting their education in Wisconsin are heading to areas like Rockford, places in Illinois where they're able to get that training.
But for many Wisconsin students wanting to get abortion education before they receive their medical degree, their options are more limited. It's the reason Senator Tammy Baldwin introduced the Reproductive Healthcare Training Act in mid-June to help support training in abortion care. In a press release, she said the proposal would ease the burden that out-of-state training brings and support programs bearing the weight of it.
I think it would be a huge change and a huge motivator.
Hands-on abortion training is not required to get a medical degree, but medical programs are required to offer it to people who want to become board-certified OBGYNs. To work around this, UW Health, for example, has created a partnership with the University of Chicago to provide OB residents a rotation in Illinois. The Reproductive Health Care Act would dedicate $25 million a year for the next 5 years in grants to eligible medical programs.
Meanwhile, most OBGYNs are worried about the effects of revoking the federal right to an abortion. That's according to a new survey by the Kaiser Family Foundation. The organization surveyed hundreds of practicing OBGYNs nationwide about their experiences since the Supreme Court's decision last year. More than 2/3 said the ruling has worsened their ability to respond to pregnancy-related emergencies and exacerbated pregnancy-related mortality. About a quarter of OBGYNs said they had patients who could not get an abortion they wanted. Half of those were in states where abortion is banned.
At the Capitol today, Democrats introduced the Right to Contraception Act. The bill would establish an individual's right to access and a health care provider's right to provide contraceptives and information regarding contraception. The legislation would also prohibit the state or a local government entity from implementing laws that would make it more difficult to obtain contraceptives or contraception-related information.
Some folks have developed a habit of setting aside science and evidence and individualized decision-making to play politics with people's lives.
The bill is backed by Representative Lisa Subak of Madison, Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, and U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin.
Let's now go out to the weather patio for the first warn forecast with Julian C. Wright.
Well, things are still rather warm and even hot for many of us on our first day of official summer. But that's not the only thing that's going to be sticking around for us. Is the air quality advisories due to our ozone because of these hot temperatures and even the hazy skies that we've been experiencing throughout much of southern Wisconsin. That's going to stick around until 11 p.m. going into our Friday. So be prepared if you do have any kind of issues with air quality or anything like that, you might want to limit your outdoor exposure. Now, we're going to see it really start to increase and get a bit more on the worst side of potent hazy skies by the time we get into our Friday. Nevertheless, it's still been more blue skies than cloud cover, and that's going to be the trend as we continue throughout the rest of this work week. But for tonight, we'll see those temperatures hold into the 80s, and folks, this is going to be the warmest or the longest day of the year for our summer solstice, so don't expect the sunset until a bit later into our evening hours, and then we'll start to finally cool down overnight, with temperatures will be around 60 degrees as our low for us here in Madison, but many of us in southern Wisconsin are still going to be on the comfortable side. What we're really going to be watching for is the changes coming into this weekend. When does that change? Mainly late Saturday night into our Sunday, which will not only cool us down, but potentially bring in some much needed rain for the area. We'll talk about just how much rain and what the timing will be like for this rain in a few moments. Until then, over to you.
Julian, thank you. And continuing coverage from Waunakee now, where a small plane crash landed into a neighborhood this afternoon. Happened near the intersection of Kingston Way at Knightsbridge Road. Investigators say the plane experienced engine trouble shortly after taking off from the nearby Waunakee Airport. When it landed, the plane hit two vehicles. Both people on the plane were taken to a hospital for medical treatment, but no one was seriously hurt. And firefighters battling a house fire. This was in Verona this afternoon. Happened in the 200 block of Legion Street. Flames could be seen shooting from the roof. The Verona PD said Legion Street will be closed for some time while firefighters battle this fire. No injuries there have been reported.
To an update on a deadly shooting in Madison from over the weekend. We now know the identity of the victim. The Dane County Medical Examiner says Nicholas Taylor Washington died at a hospital Sunday. Autopsy results confirm he died from homicidal firearm-related trauma. The shooting happened on the 600 block of East Dayton Street. Madison police are still investigating this death. Police in Madison say they arrested a man late last night after he allegedly caused a disturbance at a downtown restaurant and assaulted an employee. This happened on the 200 block of King Street just before midnight. Someone reported that the man was yelling and trying to assault customers and employees inside the business. The 30-year-old was arrested for disorderly conduct, criminal damage to property, and making threats to law enforcement. He has not yet been formally charged with a crime.
Madison police say they arrested a man after he allegedly snuck into the women's bathroom at a grocery store and peered over the stalls. Officers were called to Woodman's on Milwaukee Street. This was just before 1 yesterday afternoon. They say the man left the store after he was caught in the act, but police later found him at a nearby park. The man, they say, admitted to doing similar incidents in the past. He's now facing tentative charges of lewd and lascivious conduct, invasion of privacy, disorderly conduct, and bail jumping.
Madison has joined a short list of cities that have made themselves a sanctuary for transgender people. The City Council's unanimous vote last night comes after the Dane County Board of Supervisors approved a similar symbolic resolution last week. Madison's first trans elected official, Nina Martinez Rutherford, says symbols like this are a meaningful step forward.
And the more children, the more adults feel valued and heard and seen, the better we become.
Martinez Rutherford hopes that other cities see this step by Madison and take similar steps. Both of these declarations come after the transgender pride flag was raised in front of the Madison Municipal Building earlier this month for the first time.
We have a traffic alert for you. Overnight lane closures are coming to Madison's so-called hairball intersection for the rest of this week as crews continue construction in that area. Starting tonight and running until Saturday morning, only right turns will be allowed at the intersection of South Blair Street, East Wilson, and Willie Street at John Nolan Drive between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. Metro Transit buses will still be permitted to move through that intersection as crews will help flag them through the area.
The remains of a Wisconsin soldier killed in action during World War II will come home to its final resting place next week. Army Private First Class Clinton Koloski died on January 14, 1945 at the age of 21 while his unit was on patrol in France. According to the U.S. Army, Koloski's patrol came across German soldiers who were in fortified positions, forcing them to try to retreat the area under heavy artillery and mortar fire. Koloski's remains were identified just last year in September. He will be buried at Calvary Cemetery in Beloit on June 30th. Coming up, it is a job made for Wisconsinites.
When we come back, where you can get paid to taste cheese and why this process is more rigorous than you probably think. Stay with us.
Don't miss Wisconsin's best deals this summer only at Ashley's multi-million-dollar clearance event. Everything must go. Save up to 84% store-wide, plus special interest financing for 72 months. Only at Ashley.
Fry Construction is celebrating 28 years with a big anniversary sale. Join us to save 28%. That's right, 28%. Many of your neighbors already know how we strive to meet and exceed expectations with each and every project. That's why they voted us Best Roofer 3 years in a row. Experience the best of Madison for yourself with Fry Construction. Act now for 28% off gutters or insulation with any full roofing project. Schedule your free consultation today at fryconstruction.com.
Attention, Wisconsin veterans.
I'm Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin. If you are veterans struggling to pay for rent, utilities, or other life-sustaining services, I want you to know that the Veterans Rental Assistance Program is here to help. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued to veterans in just days, not months. You have already made a most noble sacrifice. You shouldn't have to continue doing so. We are here to support you. With pride in the way, it's never easy to ask for assistance, but rest assured we are here to help. The VRAP team is standing by to help. So call 833-WISC-VRAP or visit VRAPWI.com. You've always been there for us. We want you to know that we're here for you. On behalf of the state of Wisconsin, thank you.
Don't miss Wisconsin's best mattress deals this summer, only at Ashley's multi-million-dollar clearance event. Everything must go. Save up to 84% off top mattress brands, plus special interest financing for 72 months. Only at Ashley.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. UW-Madison Center for Dairy Research is on the hunt for a new part-time cheese taster.
But before all of you apply for this job, the big cheeses tell our Armand Rahman it's not all fun and games.
Yeah, guys, they say it ain't easy being cheesy. The position is officially called Descriptive Sensory Panelist. It's a paid part-time position with 3 months of paid training, learning the ins and outs of all things cheese. 13. Now hiring cheese taster. Serious inquiries only.
It is a very kind of rigorous job. When the story went viral a little bit, people just kind of think, you know, you sit down, you taste some cheese, you say whether you like it or not.
When hot pizzas come out of the oven at the Center for Dairy Research, they're not gobbled up in minutes by a hungry crowd.
This week we have almost 30 pizzas that we have to evaluate.
How it tastes and functions is analyzed by descriptive sensory panelists.
Kind of what we're teaching them is to speak a common language. So think of like, how well does it go through a shredding machine? How well does it bake and, you know, brown, blister? How does the cheese stretch and melt and flow?
But it's not just for aesthetics. They taste the scientific compounds and components used to flavor and preserve cheese, and they know that that can be risky.
An enzyme modified cheese, and I had a totally allergic reaction to it. The concentration was too high, which we don't know this because it's kind of wine tasting. And so the next thing you know, I'm like, Benadryl, quick.
But now panelists have a sharper eye than most at the supermarket.
You can see that on shredded cheeses, there's potato starch to keep the shreds separate. If I buy anything like a pre-made frozen like burrito or something, I know that that's not really cheese.
Because they had a hand in making sure it's Gouda for customers.
People don't realize how much work goes into the food industry as far as like quality control and research and development. Most people don't know that like professional tasting is a thing.
So if you think you can cut the monster,
keep your mind open and your palate too.
Now, the application period just closed today, but CDR coordinators say they are always looking for occasional tasters and testers at Babcock Hall.
Good
so
stuff.
There is hope for us yet.
Too late. We didn't get our resumes in time. Armand, thank you. And still ahead, how the famous Memorial Union Terrace chairs got even more colorful today.
Also, the streets of Madison are being filled with the sound of music. We'll take you to the festivities.
And Mother Nature bringing the heat for this first day of summer. Julian's back. Your complete forecast after a short break.
Get 11% off your appliance upgrade at Menards. We've got quality, energy-efficient appliances from great brands including KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and Criterion. Save over $1,100 on this Whirlpool stainless steel refrigerator after sale price and rebate. From big to small, Menards has it all. Be sure to discover our great selection of Criterion appliances, like this stainless steel electric range. Save big and get it now for just $618.99 after 11% off at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
We asked people to give their honest feedback on how wrinkles around their eye area and under-eye puffiness looked after trying Tint and Tighten for the first time.
So with foundation, normally it just kind of, you just cover up and conceal things. But with Tint and Tighten, it actually changes the way the skin looks. The lines are actually gone. So you don't get any of that buildup within them and the creases that you normally would see when you wear foundation.
40s is a bit of a shocker for me because 40s, I noticed the skin under my eye is getting very loose. And then 50s hit. And I'm 54, and I really noticed the difference in the firmness of my skin here, and especially here. I'm glad there's products like Tint and Tighten out there so that I can just put this on and not worry about what I didn't do in my 40s, my 30s, and my 20s, and it looks like I always have. It's a pleasure, and it's actually a gift for anyone.
Tint and Tighten shrinks under-eye puffiness, smooths out wrinkles and fine lines around the eye area, and provides tinted coverage to hide dark circles and skin imperfections, making you look fresh and younger. Tint and Tighten is the only cosmetic that blends a beautiful tinted cream to cover uneven skin tone and dark circles with silicate technology that smooths out under-eye puffiness and wrinkles, making the skin around your eye area look flawless for up to 8 hours.
I will be turning 59 in June of this year. Using Tint and Tighten, for me, I'm actually very confident right now that my wrinkles won't be as obvious. It is giving me the support that I think reminds me that I'm at my best right now.
Finally, there's a tinted eye cream to cover dark circles and uneven skin tone. And since Tint and Tighten works in 10 minutes and lasts up to 8 hours, you can look your best without getting injections or fillers. Get beautiful, lightweight, tinted coverage, plus that smoother, younger, wrinkle-free look from years past in 10 minutes. A look that will make you feel beautiful and confident. Try it this 4th of July for up to 50% off and free shipping. Visit tntcream.com or call the number on your screen.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
The colorful sunburst chairs at the Union Terrace got a little more colorful today for a short time. A few chairs colored blue and purple joined the yellow, orange, and green ones already set up on the steps of the Union in recognition of Pride Month. The rainbow of chairs previously made appearances in 2019 and 2022. The hot and dry weather continues. Julian returns now. Here's your complete forecast.
Well, we have that air quality advisory, which is going to be in effect for all of southern Wisconsin through Friday at 11 p.m. due to ozone, and we will see the return of hazy skies. We'll also be lowering our air quality. So taking a look at the smoke in itself, just light and thin haze throughout much of Wisconsin and the upper Midwest. But by the time we get into our Friday, you're going to be expecting to see that wildfire smoke start to make its way into southern Wisconsin once again by the time we get into our Friday morning and heading into our Friday nights. But as of right now, our air quality is mainly unhealthy for some. So for those who are into those sensitive groups, make sure that you are limiting your outdoor activities, especially for those who have heart or even any kind of lung disease. Now, outside of that, let's talk about the heat. It's the first day of summer, and we're actually a lot warmer or even hotter than typically what it would be for this time of year. Because seasonally, around 80 degrees, but we are into the upper 80s, almost 90 degrees for us here in Madison for today, and it's going to be the 90s by the time we close out this work week. Heading into the weekend, though, we will finally start to see a little bit of relief once we get to Sunday, and then heading into next week, we'll be closer to normal instead of holding on to this heat, which is rather unseasonable. Now, talking about this weekend, so what's happening as of right now throughout the United States is that we have a blocking pattern. That blocking pattern has kept things cool and wet to the west and also hot and dry for the south, as that heat dome has been bringing in record temperatures for Texas. For us, we've been unseasonably warm, and we'll start to see this low pressure system finally start to cool things off and also bring in some rain by the time we get into our Sunday. But late Saturday night into our Sunday morning is what we're thinking of timing for us to see any of that rain start to make its way into southern Wisconsin. So as we get into around the overnight hours for Sunday and late Sunday morning, we're still going to be seeing a couple of pocket showers, but mainly the north is going to be seeing the biggest widespread rainfall and the heaviest rainfall in itself. For us, we're going to be looking at some on and off light showers throughout the course of the day. Maybe a thunderstorm could pop up, but nevertheless, it will be sticking around from our Sunday and potentially going even into our Monday. But since it is going to be more on the lighter side and impact areas to the north, that's where we're going to see our biggest gainers in terms of precipitation accumulation. But for us around Madison, we could see potentially a quarter or even a half of an inch. In some areas of southern Wisconsin, maybe even more. It's one thing to be keeping an eye on after such a dry period, because it is going to really cool things down for us. But heading into our Thursday, note that temperatures are going to be into the upper 80s once again, but once we potentially get this rain, which is definitely much needed for us here in southern Wisconsin, I know the farmers are definitely hoping for it, we're going to start to see temperatures cool back down to rather seasonable and even comfortable conditions for us. Taking a look at our 10-day forecast, once we're done with the heat, we're going back to the 84 degrees for Sunday and then seeing the upper 70s, lower 80s throughout the next stretch of days heading into next week. It's going to do it for weather. Sending over to you.
Well, for the 11th year in a row, the city of Madison has become a stage with hundreds of free live performances throughout the city. This as Make Music Madison returns for the first day of summer. News 3 Now's Chris Hallbaker shares the harmonious sounds.
I can't seem to sing all of the words that I wrote.
This is Primo. This is the one thing that brings communities together all over the world.
Make Music Madison Days is just such a wonderful thing that started years ago across the planet.
It's happening all over the country. It always happens on the solstice.
And as you can see, everybody's invited out. We have Hannah John Taylor playing some saxophone. Can you explain to me what
Yeah, I can explain it to you. It's about music today. Yeah. It's not about words.
This is a beautiful work of artist John Himmelfarb. He's a sculptor, and the whole thing is that everything produces resonance. We do this to bring the community together out here in Willie Street.
I play an instrument called the handpan, and I read about it in a drumming magazine, and I was like, oh, I'll never see that. You know, you got to get on a waiting list, and it comes overseas. And I read an article in this magazine, and a woman's making them here in Madison. I'm giving people a chance to go out and play that probably aren't invited to play at the Sylvie or something like that, right?
Let's give it up for the Cash Box Kings, y'all. You should have been home and I don't mean, baby.
Make Music Madison is one of the most fun events around town. Just the experience of seeing so many different types of people and experiencing so many different types of places. In one day. It's like a mini vacation.
And coming up in sports, Rose Lavelle back on the big stage for Team USA. A look back at the former Badgers' last World Cup heroics. That's next on News 3 Now.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Do you suffer from GERD? Join Stoughton Health to learn how the minimally invasive LINX procedure may benefit you. The educational talk will take place over Zoom on June 22nd. Visit stoughtonhealth.com and click on Classes and Events to register.
Does our foam insulation work? Listen to this.
Power in the neighborhood was out for 2 days in 95-degree weather. My thermostat only went up 3 degrees, and that's even with letting the dog in and out. It was very comfortable here.
And her savings were more than the insulation costs.
If you want to save money on your power bills, get USA Insulation. It makes a huge difference.
USA Insulation.
It's Hy-Vee's big beverage sale. One day only this Thursday. 6-pack Pepsi products. 4 for $11 when you buy 4. a half gallon of Hy-Vee orange juice, just $1.48. Gatorade, 4 for just $5. A 40-pack of Hy-Vee purified water, just $3.99. That's right, just $3.99. And 2 liters of Coke products, just $1.49. Don't miss the big beverage sale. One day only, this Thursday, and only at Hy-Vee.
Don't wait until the weekend to enjoy a thick charbroiled steak made to your liking. Make a weeknight steak night at High Point Steakhouse, Southern Wisconsin's premier supper club. Well worth the short drive to Ridgeway.
These are the faces that smile so wide at the friends and staff who are by their side, where life is lived with a feeling of pride on every bump of life's great ride that comes from the care that sweetens the air that lives in the house that angels built. Attic Angel Community, independent homes and 4 levels of assisted living built with the help of angels.
Do you suffer from GERD? Join Stoughton Health to learn how the minimally invasive LINX procedure may benefit you. The educational talk will take place over Zoom on June 22nd. Visit stoughtonhealth.com and click on Classes and Events to register.
Join the Madison Mallards on Pride Night, Friday, June 23rd at 6:35 against the Green Bay Rockers. Stick around after the game is over for some spectacular post-game fireworks. News 3 Now is a proud sponsor of Madison Mallards Baseball.
The Packers wrapped up mandatory minicamp last week and are off for a little over a month until they report to training camp in late July. But that doesn't mean it's vacation time for the rookies, especially the new tight ends. Both Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave have high upsides as players and are expected to see the field. The challenge now until week 1 for them, hone in on those details so they'll be ready.
This is what college is like, the need to know. In the NFL, it's about right here and throwing that dot and making it into that circle every single time, and then getting consistent on that's the biggest struggle.
There's a lot of learning there, and there's a lot of room for improvement, but we are excited about just the talent that they both possess.
Chris Orr was named to the USFL's all-defensive team today after a big season with the New Jersey Generals. The former Badger racked up 81 tackles, 7 TFLs, and 2.5 sacks in 9 games this season in the United States Football League. A rubber match between the Brewers and Diamondbacks, and Craig Counsell got his steps in going from the dugout to the mound today. Milwaukee used 6 pitchers in this one, so you already know how it went. Alex Thomas smacks one back up the middle to give Arizona the lead in the 6th. They won't look back. Brewers fall 5-1 and drop a game-and-a-half back of the Reds in the standings. We're a couple months away from basketball season, but it's never too early to start thinking about Badger hoops. And ESPN agrees. They unveiled their way too early top 25 for the upcoming men's basketball season, and Wisconsin made the cut. UW is 25th in the rankings, and they're one of three Big Ten teams listed in the poll, while Shaka Smart and Marquette sit 10th, Charlotte. And Rose Lavelle will be representing the red, white, and blue again for this summer's World Cup. The former Badger was named to the U.S. women's national team's roster for her 2nd straight World Cup. And you remember what she did last time on the world stage, scoring a goal in the final that essentially won the game and a gold medal. The United States will open up group play on July 21st against Vietnam in New Zealand.
It'll be exciting to watch. Right around the corner.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, final check with Julian.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot one for the next couple of days, and then we'll start to cool off just a bit with some possible showers and thunderstorms for this weekend. Finally, after such a dry stretch, we could potentially break it heading into our Sunday and even for our Monday, but then we're looking to enter potentially another dry stretch into next week. But at least the temperatures are a lot more doable than this time.
Yeah. Julian, thank you. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.